starting over. There are very few concepts in life that are this powerful and at the same time this frightening, and you truly understand that when you feel it deeply. Because starting over is not just about getting a new job, moving to a new city, or bringing new people into your life. Starting over means allowing your old self to slowly dissolve. It means being willing to let go of the thought patterns that feel familiar, the automatic reactions, the identity you've been saying, "This is just who I am," about for years. And that's exactly why most people want a new life, but they want it with the same mindset. They want to open a new page while continuing to read the old story. Sometimes they even reread the same sentences again and again, and then they wonder why nothing changes. The truth is, change begins in consciousness before it appears in circumstances. If your awareness stays the same, even if you change cities, your destiny won't change. Even if your environment changes, your results won't change. Because wherever you go, you take yourself with you. You take your mind, your fears, your beliefs. And without realizing it, you repeat the same scenario with different characters. That's why there are 3 fundamental principles I would share with anyone who truly wants to start over. They may sound simple, but when applied, they transform your inner world at its roots. The first is freedom from the past. Real freedom. Not only from painful memories, but even from the beautiful ones. Because the past is not just what happened to you. The past is the identity you built around what happened. I'm unlucky. I always get left behind. I can't hold relationships. I'm too late. I'm just not disciplined. These are not objective truths. They are interpretations your mind formed after certain experiences. But over time, you start mistaking those interpretations for your personality. And that's where the danger begins. Because people don't repeat what happened to them, they repeat the meaning they gave to what happened. If you were rejected once and interpreted it as, "I'm not enough," your mind begins protecting that story. Even if consciously you want happiness, your subconscious will choose what is familiar. And what is familiar is often pain, but it is known. For the mind, what is familiar feels safe. So most of the time, people don't choose happiness, they choose habit. They don't choose peace, they choose the chaos they recognize. Freedom from the past does not mean erasing memories. That's not even possible. It means stopping the identification. When a memory comes up, you don't merge with it. When a feeling arises, you don't immediately say, "This is me." You notice it. You breathe. You let the thought pass through. Because you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them. And when you start to feel that difference, the chains begin to loosen. Some people cling to past successes. "I used to be so good." Others cling to past pain. "They did this to me." Both are traps. Both keep you anchored away from the present. Life only happens now. Someone who wants to start over must learn to close the mental archive. Sometimes that even requires physical changes, new routines, new environments, because familiar surroundings feed familiar patterns. But the real change is internal. You can change your address, but if you don't change your narrative, the outcome remains the same. Ask yourself honestly, am I what happened to me, or am I the decision I'm making right now? If it's the second, freedom begins. Then the past becomes a teacher, not a burden. And once a teacher gives the lesson, it doesn't stay in the classroom forever. You don't have to carry it anymore. The second principle is freedom from the pressure created by constant expectation, hope, and desire. This may sound strange because we've always been told to dream big, to want intensely, to believe and it will happen. But constantly waiting for something to happen keeps the mind in a state of lack. The thought, "it hasn't happened yet," creates subtle tension. As tension increases, peace decreases. When peace decreases, clarity fades. And when clarity fades, we make poor decisions. Expectation is an invisible pressure. The question, "when will it happen?" quietly generates anxiety. Anxiety pushes us either into rushing or into giving up. Yet some things unfold not when forced, but when given space. If you dig up a seed every day to check if it's growing, you prevent it from taking root. Life works the same way. When you obsess over outcomes, you kill the process. This doesn't mean giving up your desires. It doesn't mean stopping your effort. It means releasing the obsession with controlling the result. Because the result is rarely fully in your hands. What is in your hands is your intention, your effort, your consistency. Timing, encounters, and opportunities often belong to a larger flow. The stronger the expectation, the greater the potential disappointment. But living without rigid expectation is not passivity, it is inner flexibility. It is the strength to say, if it happens, beautiful. If it doesn't, I am still here. True confidence is not attached to outcomes. True confidence is the ability to remain steady in the process. If the success or failure of something destroys you, then you have tied your identity to it. And someone starting over must not tie their identity to results. Results change. Your inner stance can remain. The third principle is freedom from time. Perhaps the most subtle pressure of all. I'm too late. I'm getting older. It's already too late for me. These sentences drain your energy. Time becomes a psychological threat. In reality, time is simply a measurement moving on a calendar. But the mind turns it into fear. You start carrying your age like a burden. You compare yourself to others. Comparison poisons the mind. And decisions made in panic are usually born from fear. Decisions born from fear pull you away from your true self. Every life has its own rhythm. Some flowers bloom early, some bloom late. A late bloom is not less valuable. When you treat time like a race, you exhaust yourself. Time pressure reduces creativity. Stress blocks your ability to see opportunities. And ironically, that's how you truly begin to fall behind. If you constantly lift the lid while waiting for water to boil, you delay the boiling. Life is similar. Impatience scatters your energy. Deep transformations happen in silence, in inner stillness, in quiet trust. Freedom from time does not mean doing nothing. It means acting without attaching your worth to a deadline. It means continuing your effort without fear breathing down your neck. For someone who is starting over, inner calm is the strongest foundation. Calm brings clarity. Clarity brings the right step. The right step, repeated, becomes consistency. And consistency, over time, creates profound transformation. But that transformation is born from patience, not panic. And maybe there is something else that must be mentioned: honesty with yourself. Starting over can sound romantic, inspiring, but in reality, it requires looking in the mirror. It requires seeing your excuses, recognizing where you have hidden behind circumstances, admitting that sometimes what you call bad luck was actually fear. That is not easy. But freedom begins there. People often complain about their comfort zone, yet they protect it fiercely because it feels safe. Growth lives in uncertainty. Letting your old identity dissolve can feel like grief. Even your pain can feel familiar and therefore comforting. Letting go creates a sense of emptiness. But that emptiness is not a void to fear. It is space for something new to emerge. Many people cannot tolerate that space and quickly return to old patterns just to avoid the silence. But if you can stay in that in-between phase, if you can sit with the uncertainty, a new version of you slowly begins to take shape. Lighter, more conscious, more free. Starting over requires courage. But the greatest courage is not facing the world. It is facing your own mind. Questioning your story. Rewriting your beliefs. Softening the rigid definition of, "This is who I am." That is an inner revolution. And perhaps that is the only revolution that truly matters. When you stop identifying with the past, loosen the pressure of expectation, and release the fear of time, something inside you becomes lighter. A lighter mind sees more clearly. A clearer mind makes better choices. Better choices, repeated consistently, build a new life. Not overnight. Not dramatically. But quietly. One conscious decision at a time. And maybe the most important question remains this: if you had no past to carry, no expectations to pressure you, and no fear of time chasing you, who would you be? How would you act? What step would you take? Who would you call? What would you try? What would you finally let go of? The answer to that question is where your new beginning lives. Because starting over is not a date on a calendar. It is a state of awareness. And that awareness can be chosen right now.